Emergency officials are updating procedures to deal with a gas leak near Michael Garron Hospital. Let's listen in.
Into a trench. We immediately shut down the HVAC system to the hospital to prevent the gas from coming in, and escalated this where we ended up with 10 crews and a hazardous materials response. A number of other buildings were evacuated, and a number of buildings self-evacuated while others sheltered in place. Toronto Fire Service air monitored all of the surrounding buildings and had staff in the hospital going floor to floor to make sure that there was no risk to any of the public given the proximity to the hospital, to their staff, or to any of the patients. So at no time did we determine or detect any gas readings inside the hospital that would have caused us concern. The Toronto Police Service assisted us in shutting down the surrounding neighborhood from traffic. It obviously was the smell was could be noticed several blocks away, given the diameter of the gas line. Happy to report that Enbridge has been able to shut the gas supply off. Toronto Fire Service right now is doing one last air monitoring check throughout the main buildings that you're seeing here. But at this point, no report of injuries, no further risk to the public, and most importantly, the hospital maintained full continuity of operations. So happy to take any questions or turn them over to my colleagues here. The exact time, I knew you were going to ask that. What was it? 9:30.
And when will people, I guess, be allowed back into this area?
We're starting to move there right now. So the police can speak to what they're doing on the road closures, but I believe most of the parents have picked their children up from school because we didn't know at the time how long it was going to take to shut the gas line off. But again, to stress, there was no risk to the school, there was no risk to the East York Civic Centre or any persons in the hospital.
Can you talk about the gas leak itself? I mean, it looked massive from a distance. Have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, what can you talk about the size of it? What was coming out of it? Like noise?
No, absolutely. I've attended a couple of these in my career. It was a 5 or 6 inch diameter main. It was a significant gas leak. You could hear it coming up from blocks away. Certainly, if it was still on right now, you probably wouldn't be able to hear me. It was producing or expelling a lot of gas. The wind was on our side today, but most importantly, the immediate actions of our staff working collaboratively with Michael Garron and Toronto Police Service and our colleagues at Toronto Paramedic Services is we were able to shut off the intakes to the hospital, which prevented the gas from getting in, and then continue to monitor. So it's not common for a gas line that large to be severed, but it's certainly happened before.
How does something like this happen? I mean, was there a construction crew working on that site exactly? Like, are they supposed to know what to do and not to do, or like how can something like this happen?
So I'm not going to comment on what happened at the point. I'm certain there are going to be other people that are going to be asking questions. Again, all we want to reiterate is that the rest of the public is now gone, and a great collaborative effort in making sure that the school, East York Civic Centre, the surrounding homes, and most importantly, Michael Garron Hospital were safe. But I can't comment on what may be asked or what happened.
Mr. Glass, maybe do you have anything that you're able to say about the work that's being done at the hospital? Is this at all related to what's been going on with the renovations? Are you able to step closer to the mic, sir?
Sure. Thank you. Well, first of all, let me start by saying that we're very grateful for Toronto Police Services and the Fire Department for all their assistance and the fact that there was never at any point in time any risk to any of our patients. We don't know the exact cause of the gas line leak. It did not involve any hospital staff, but obviously it was just on the perimeter of our property.
Are there any renovations to the hospital that are still ongoing at this time?
Yes, you can see the signs that are going on. We have finished the major construction of the new Thompson Patient Care Center, but there are renovations that are happening throughout the hospital.
When you have so many patients that are inside and also having the fire department going floor to floor, making sure the air quality is good, from the standpoint of the hospital to ensure patient care is not compromised or to as little of a degree possible, how does that work from the inside operations to ensure that everyone's safe?
We were communicating using overhead pages throughout the organization so that our staff and our patients knew that they were never at any risk. And then we had Toronto Police Services and Toronto Fire Department on site as well, going floor to floor, taking readings to making sure that all the areas were safe.
How many patients are in the hospital right now?
Approximately 500.
And were any moved as a precaution or in any capacity?
No.
Everyone stayed exactly where they were, whether it's the emergency department, maternity, everybody stayed exactly where they were.
That's correct. Our emergency department was put on redirect, so other hospitals accommodated the patients that would have been sent to Michael Garron Hospital for a period of time, and we were still open for walk-ins, but we were not moving patients within the hospital. That was not required.
Is the gas supply to the hospital, sorry to interrupt, is the gas supply to the hospital back on? Will it be affected? It hasn't been affected.
We are going to be working with Enbridge to test that before everything is turned on. Our ventilation system was turned off out of precaution and to make sure that the foul air wouldn't be in the hospital. So there's some more testing that we need to do now that it's been shut off.
How many patients, are you telling patients that will come down from Michael Garron today?
Well, I would say that within the next hour, we will have the access doors open again. For the last couple of hours, we only had the Salmon Avenue access, but it's safe to come if they have a scheduled appointment. If they miss their appointment because of not being able to access the hospital today, then we will work with the patients to reschedule those as quickly as possible.
Do you know how many patients were redirected during this time?
I don't.
And are you, like, this project, who's it managed by? Like, is it Michael Garron's project? And do you know what I'm saying?
The construction?
Yeah.
The construction company, as you can see on the sign, is Elliston.
Right. Okay. So have you been in contact with them?
Yes, we have been.
So what is the message there? What do you understand about?
They're aware of the situation, and we'll have to follow up with them.
You want to talk to the police about how many residents?
And did you spell your name? Can you spell your name?
I'm sorry, Wolf Klassen, Klassen.
I don't have a specific number, but I can say that I don't have a specific number, but the residents in the area bordered by Coxwell, Mortimer, Barker, and I believe it is Crestland, those residential homes were evacuated. They should be able to go back now, and we're letting people know that. How many houses are in that specific geographic area? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Dozens or?
I would say more than dozens.
More than dozens. More than 100 homes were evacuated?
You'd have to look at a map. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you how many houses are there.
What did police do? You know, when you got the call, what was the police response to this?
Basically, what the fire department deals with the actual incident itself. We deal with the area surrounding it, the road closures, and making sure that we have the resources that we need in order to facilitate evacuations and make sure that the fire department is safe, because they're obviously busy and there's hoses all over the road. We're doing things like that.
Chief Jessup, a quick question for you. Could you explain the process where you were putting water on the or were you doing water?
Oh, certainly happy to. So as I said, our primary objective at the time was to prevent any of the natural gas from entering the hospital. So in addition to shutting down the HVAC system in collaboration with Michael Garron Hospital, we also deployed a number of hand lines. And so the purpose of the water is to disperse the gas so that it doesn't get concentrated and it doesn't pocket anywhere. So the water is primarily used to make sure the gas continues to be dispersed and is redirected away from the hospital and any of the entrances.
Is it your crews that actually shut the valve?
For the water? No, we have nothing to do with that. That was Enbridge Gas is responsible for all matters relating to gas. Toronto Fire Service did not shut the gas supply off, nor does it clamp severed gas lines. Our job is to, make sure that it's ventilated, to make sure that it never reaches anywhere between the lower or upper explosive limit. But in terms of who shut the gas off, that was absolutely Enbridge.
What do you make of the amount of time that went by 9:30 to, like 3 hours, essentially, this was going on? What do you make of the amount of time it took to do this?
What I will say is everybody did everything they could, as safely as they could and as quickly as they could.
Thank you so much. And your first name?
Suzanne.
Suzanne. Can you spell it?
Suzanne.
And your
Redmond is Redman.
And your title or class?
Inspector. I'm the duty senior officer for today.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good
Appreciate
day.
it.
Okay, we've been listening in to officials there from Toronto Fire, Toronto Police, as well as Michael Garron Hospital, providing the latest update. They did confirm that no gas readings were detected inside Michael Garron Hospital and that no patients were moved during this leak. The cause of it is still unknown at this point, but area residents within the vicinity of that particular area where this took place had to be evacuated, but they are now allowed to return. And we'll have more on this throughout the afternoon.